My name is Lisa. I am 29 years old, and I work as a marketing manager in New York. My life is busy, filled with meetings, deadlines, and projects. I rarely have time for dating, and even when I do, nothing ever seems to last. I always believed that love would come naturally one day, but as time went on, I started to doubt that. Most of my weekends were spent with my friends, drinking coffee and talking about work, life, and relationships. Then one day, my company sent me on a business trip to Paris. It was my first time visiting France, and I was both excited and nervous. I arrived in Paris on a cool autumn evening, checked into my hotel, and decided to have dinner at a small restaurant nearby. I didn't know then that this dinner would change my life forever. The restaurant was warm and cozy, filled with the soft hum of conversation and the rich aroma of French cuisine. As I sat down, a tall, handsome waiter approached me with a charming smile. His dark brown hair was slightly tousled, and his deep blue eyes held a playful glint. "Bonsoir," he said in perfect French, holding a menu in his hand. I hesitated, embarrassed that I didn't understand. Seeing my expression, he immediately switched to English, his accent smooth and melodic. "Is this your first time in Paris?" he asked, his smile never fading. "Yes," I replied shyly. "I'm here for work, but I hope to see a little of the city too." He introduced himself as Alex and recommended a traditional French dish. As I ate, he checked on me a few times, and each time, we talked a little more. He told me that he was originally from Lyon, but had moved to Paris to pursue his passion for art. In the evenings, he worked at the restaurant to support himself. He had an easygoing personality, a contagious enthusiasm for life, and a sense of humor that made me laugh in a way I hadn't in a long time. Just as I was about to leave, he hesitated for a moment before speaking. "Would you like a tour of Paris? I'd love to show you the real city, not just the tourist spots." Something about him made me trust him instantly. Without thinking too much, I found myself saying, "That sounds wonderful." The next evening he took me to hidden gems of Paris, the quiet, romantic alleys of Montmartre, a small bookshop by the Seine, and a little café where he loved to sit and sketch. We talked about everything: our childhoods, our dreams, our fears. He made me feel special in a way no one had before. As the days passed, we spent more and more time together. He showed me Paris not just with his words, but through his eye. One night, we sat by the river, watching the city lights dance on the water. "Lisa, do you believe in love at first sight?" he asked suddenly, his voice quiet but firm. I laughed, shaking my head. "I don't know. Maybe I do now." He reached for my hand, his fingers warm against mine. "I feel like I was meant to meet you," he whispered. And then, he kissed me. It was soft and hesitant at first, but then, it deepened. I could feel the emotion behind it, the longing, the sincerity, the quiet promise. At that moment, I didn't care about reality. I didn't care that I had only known him for a short time. I was falling for him. But love is never simple. My business trip was coming to an end, and I dreaded the thought of leaving. On my last night in Paris, Alex held my hands and said, "No matter where you go, we can make this work. Distance doesn't matter." I wanted to believe him. I really did. But not all love stories have a happy ending. Back in New York, we kept in touch every day. We sent messages, voice notes, and video called each other late at night. But as time passed, things began to change. His replies became shorter. His calls became less frequent. He said he was busy, and I believed him until one day, I saw something that made my entire world crumble. It was a photo on social media. Alex was in the picture, standing with a beautiful woman. She had long, golden hair, a radiant smile, and an elegance that made her look like she had stepped out of a magazine. They were standing close, arms wrapped around each other. And below the photo, the caption read, "To my love, my fiancé." I couldn't breathe. Fiancé? Was this some kind of mistake? Had he moved on that quickly? Or worse, had she been there all along? My hands shook as I dialed his number. My heart pounded in my chest as the phone rang. When he answered, his voice was calm, like nothing had happened. "Lisa." "Alex," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "What is this? You're engaged." Silence. "Answer me. Did you already have a fiancé when you were with me?" He sighed, long and heavy, as if carrying the weight of a truth he never wanted to reveal. "Lisa, I'm sorry. Yes, I was engaged when I met you." Everything around me seemed to blur. Then what was I to you? Just a game, a distraction. "No," he said quickly. "I loved you." "But..." I let out a bitter laugh. "But what? You loved me, but not enough to tell me the truth." He didn't respond. I felt like a fool. I had believed every word, every touch, every promise. And yet, I was nothing but a secret, a mistake. "I hate you," I whispered, more to myself than to him. "I wish I had never met you." And then, I hung up. That night, I cried until my body was too exhausted to feel anything. Love had betrayed me in the cruelest way possible. A few months later, I found myself back in Paris. This time, not for work, but for myself. I walked past the restaurant where I had first met him, the memories playing in my mind like a cruel joke. I didn't go inside. I didn't even stop. Instead, I took a deep breath and whispered to the wind. "Alex, you taught me love, but you also taught me betrayal. But it's okay. I'm stronger now." And with that, I walked away. Paris was still beautiful, even without him.